welcome back. My name is Susan Gerhardt, and I'm back again here this time with Catherine Hornbeck. Catherine is one of our social workers. And Catherine, welcome.
Thank you.
How long have you been at Greenspring?
I've been at Greenspring for about 4 years, but my first 2 years here were as a social worker on the hospice team here at Greenspring, and then about 2 years ago I came over to independent living, and I've been there ever since.
I know you service our area, and we're so happy to have you. It's a busy job. I seldom go past your office and see you in there.
Right.
And someone mentioned that to me one day, and I said, well, she shouldn't be in there. She should be out and about.
Yes. Well, I will say, if you ever need to get in touch with me and I'm not in there, please leave me a message and I will get back to you.
Okay, I'm sure you will. That's good. So today you're here to talk to us about a low vision support group.
Yes.
And here I sit with my contact lenses and a variety of kinds of reading glasses. Tell me about the low vision support group.
Yeah, our low vision support group is a combination emotional support group in that traditional sense, but also it's an education group. So it's an opportunity to have guest speakers talk about new technology in low vision, support aids, also have education from resident to resident, sharing tools and strategies that have been helpful to them.
So it's not only about people who are having serious low vision issues now, but who are saying, okay, as I age and my vision changes, what tools are out there to help me?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of like I go to the hearing support group, not so much for myself, but because my mother has severe hearing loss, and I go to learn about her situation and what can help her.
Yeah, I always encourage spouses and family members who have questions about how they can be of support or just want to learn more about what their loved one's going through.
That's good to know. How often do you meet?
We meet once a month. It's the first Monday of every month.
First Monday of every month, and where do you meet?
We meet in the Town Center Music Room at 2 p.m.
Okay, Town Center Music Room, which is on the first floor.
Yes.
And you meet at 2 p.m.?
2 p.m.
Excellent. And how many people come?
Well, over the last few months, we've had kind of a range of anywhere from 17 to 25.
Good.
So sometimes it gets pretty full in there, but it's always good. It means that a lot of people are getting something out of the group.
It's a good thing when you need to move to a bigger room.
Yes.
That's a good thing. So tell us about some of the programs that you have had.
Yeah. I try to kind of have it a even mix of guest speakers and also the just discussion groups. We've had a collection of really great speakers over the last couple of years, with Dr. Alibi probably being everyone's favorite. He's a well-known optometrist in the area who works with a lot of residents at Greenspring, knows a lot about low vision support, and is just a wonderful person. So he comes at least once a year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we've also had a lot of support from staff at Greenspring. Michael Ritt, the executive chef, has come several times. He's a big advocate for low vision. He himself has had some struggles with low vision as well, so he really knows what people are going through, and he's always happy to talk to the group and help.
Excellent. That's good. What kinds of low vision issues do the members of your group bring to the table?
Yeah, it can be a variety. A lot of our residents have macular degeneration and glaucoma.
I've talked with many people with macular degeneration.
Yeah.
And macular degeneration, as I understand it, you lose the center of vision, but you still have varying abilities to see around the edges. And what kinds of things are available to help? What kinds of tools or assistance are available?
All sorts of things, from physical tools to just strategies. I've learned a lot from residents in coming to the group who've shared with each other, anywhere from folding your dollar bills a certain way, depending on what bill it is. Like when you get your money from the bank, you fold your ones in a certain way, you fold your fives in a certain way, so that when you're out paying for something, you don't have to feel uncomfortable about
you don't have to say what bill is
exactly.
this.
You can be empowered to say, I'm handing you a 5. So I expect the change from that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. There's also a tool where you can put it on your cup, and so when you pour your milk or your coffee, it makes a noise when it's coming to the top, so that you don't have to worry about overflowing your drink all over the counter.
That reminds me, I think that in our library of films from Village in Motion, there is one or two that deal with low vision.
Yes,
Am I correct?
yes,
And I remember watching that and thinking, what a wonderful bunch of tips, and hoping that I would remember some of them. Yeah.
Yes, at least one was Dr. Alibi came to speak with Marcia Boyles, and it's a great interview, and that we have on tape and we show at the group sometimes as a discussion.
And the ones I'm thinking of were ones with a resident,
Oh,
with
okay.
one of our residents who had some wonderful tips. And that's what reminded me, because my experience was that for people with low vision, stick your finger in the cup when you're pouring the coffee.
Right.
And if there's a tool that will measure that
Yes.
for you, that's a lot more sanitary.
Yes, and a lot nicer on your finger than putting it in a cup of
right.
coffee.
Ouch, yes,
Yes.
I guess it's here. Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things. Also, we have some vendors who come in and talk about different products that are out there, can demonstrate them so people can use them in person before they go out and buy something.
That's a good idea.
We've had occupational therapists come to talk about the kind of work that they can do with someone in their home to really evaluate what's the right type of equipment.
Okay.
There's lots of catalogs and magazines out there which are a great help, but sometimes it's you don't want to buy something cold that you've never seen in person that might not really be the right fit for you.
Tell me about the in our library in Town Center and in Village Square, I guess near the library, near the puzzle area, there are some machines that magnify. Tell me about those.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought those up. We have one, in, like you said, in each clubhouse. In Hunter's Crossing, it's on the side of the cards room. And those are a type of magnifier where someone can bring something they need to read. They put it underneath the screen and it magnifies up, and you can change the contrast. So maybe it's easier for you to see white on black or black on white or a shade of blue. You can change that. You can make it bigger, smaller, and it's much more comfortable for some people than holding a magnifying glass over something at home.
I saw a lady using one of those one day with her menu. And although I know we try to put our menu in font that is as large as will fit on the paper, she still wasn't able to read it, and she was using it to read her menu.
Right.
If someone wanted to learn how to use that machine, how would they learn how?
They can contact me.
Okay.
If it can be a little overwhelming to try to just go there for the first time on your own and figure it out, so I'd be happy to meet a resident at the machine and kind of go through the process.
Okay.
That's something I started doing a little more formally lately. After the last low vision group, I did a session in each community building where I was just there for the hour, and people were welcome to come. It was received pretty well. The residents seemed to appreciate it, so I'm going to try to do that a few times a year more formally, but people are welcome to call me in the meantime if they would like to learn more.
Or their local social worker? You specifically? Someone else would probably refer them to you.
I'd say it's better to call me, though I'm sure Sue and Ann would be happy to do it, but I'm a little more familiar with the machines. And I wanted to touch on the menu, because I'm glad you brought that up, though it's great to use the magnifier to read that. There should also be a low vision or a large print menu option available at the dining room. So it's something you need to ask for. They don't have enough to where they can just hand them out to everybody.
So if you're sitting at your table or at the podium entering the dining room?
I would say ask at the podium, and hopefully they can get one for you. If more people are asking for them, then they can know if they need to have more of them on hand.
Oh, that's wonderful. I hadn't heard about that. That's a big difference. Maybe we should kind of let that word out a little more, that because there are a lot of people with difficulty seeing it. Like the lady that I saw using the machine, she had some physical problems too. It had obviously been difficult for her to get to the machine in order to read this, and that would be very helpful if there were one at her dining room.
Those
that
are
she
there,
could see.
and unfortunately, though, because just of the sheer size of it, it can be challenging to have all that at the table. So I think some people enjoy reading it ahead of time in large print. And
so to back up 1 second for our viewers, if you would like to learn how to use one of those machines, Catherine's last name is Hornbeck, Hornbeck, and you can find her in the resident directory and contact her for help with that. Talk to me about the new lighting in the hallways. I love it.
Yes, it's very bright.
It's wonderful.
It's a great change, and I think a lot of that came from residents' voices. You know, they said this darker light is really challenging, and they were heard, and it's making a big difference.
It is challenging, especially I think with our carpets that have so much pattern. And there are places where the floor goes up and down a little bit. If we have better lighting, it's easier to see. Is there a plan for more of that in the community? Or is it going to stay pretty much on the main street that circles?
Right. I'm not familiar with the specifics of the plans, but I would assume that things will just keep getting better and
But
better.
you're getting lots of positive feedback.
Yeah.
What other things are available in our community for someone who's having difficulty with vision?
Yeah, well, I would really encourage people to start with the group because I think it's good to be able to talk to other residents who know what you're going through or maybe have a little bit more experience. We've got some really amazing residents who come to the group who are always happy to share what they've been through and to listen.
When I go to the hearing support group, that's part of the advice that is always passed on, and that is, number one, to tell other people that you're having difficulty with whatever, and number two, to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think those are the two most difficult parts for any of us to admit that, oh, well, I can kind of see this and make a wild guess, and instead of saying, hey, could you help me with this? I can't quite read this. I'm having trouble reading this.
Exactly. And that way staff, other residents know, and they can kind of better know how to help.
Right.
One example of that is Beth Alleman in the Resident Life Office can get you a resident badge that says low vision on it.
Good.
If that's something you're comfortable putting on, and that tells people.
And I have seen those many times, and even sometimes on rollators or walkers with a sign on there, just kind of says, oh, number one, perhaps this person could use some help, and number two, maybe let the person know you're there. Some of the other signs and signals that make the person more comfortable. Yeah. Well, Catherine, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much.
I think we're about out of time,
Okay.
but we hope you'll come back soon.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay.